The sun had barely risen over the Pride Lands when the smallest roar echoed across the tall golden grass. It was not loud, not frightening, and not powerful, but it was filled with determination. A young lion cub named Taro stood on a flat rock near the watering hole, his paws trembling as he tried again. He inhaled deeply, remembered his father's proud stance, and roared once more. Birds fluttered away, and Taro's eyes widened with surprise. It was still a small sound, but this time, it felt brave. Far away, the wind carried whispers of the cub who dared to try. Taro was not like the other cubs. While they wrestled fearlessly and chased shadows, he often watched quietly, learning and thinking. His body was smaller, his voice softer, and his confidence easily shaken. The elders of the Pride often said, "Strength comes in time." But Taro wondered if time would ever be enough. Each day, he promised himself he would be brave, even when fear curled tightly around his heart. One morning, a sudden hush fell over the savannah. The ground vibrated slightly beneath Taro's paws. From the rocky hills beyond, the grasslands came a deep rumble, followed by the sound of rolling thunder. Dark clouds gathered where the sky was usually bright and endless. The elders exchanged worried glances. A storm was coming, and not just any storm. It was the kind that shook trees, flooded paths, and separated families. Shirt. As the Pride gathered, the lead lion spoke with a calm but serious voice. The storm would reach the Pride Lands before nightfall, and the younger animals needed guidance to reach higher ground. Usually, older and stronger lions handled such tasks, but many were away hunting. The Pride needed help from everyone, even the youngest. Taro's heart began to race. He wanted to help, truly, but fear whispered that he was too small, too weak, and too quiet. He stepped back, hoping no one would notice him. But then he saw a group of smaller animals, meerkats, rabbits, and birds looking confused and frightened. They had no leader to follow. Something stirred inside Taro. It was not loud or fierce, but it was warm and steady. He remembered his promise to be brave. Slowly, he stepped forward. His voice shook as he spoke, but he spoke anyway. "Follow me," he said. "I know a path." The animals looked at him with doubt, but there was kindness in his eyes and honesty in his tone. With no better option, they followed. Taro led them toward a narrow trail that wound between rocks, a path he had discovered while exploring alone. Rain began to fall, heavy and cold. Mud clung to their feet, and thunder roared above them. Taro stumbled once, then twice, but he kept going. Halfway up the path, the wind howled fiercely. A young rabbit slipped, nearly falling into the rushing water below. Without thinking, Taro lunged forward and braced himself, digging his claws into the ground. The rabbit was saved, and for a moment, everything went still. Taro realized his legs were shaking, but his heart felt stronger than ever. They reached higher ground just as the storm flooded the lower plains. The animals huddled together, safe and dry. When the rain finally softened and the clouds began to break, sunlight spilled across the rocks. The group looked at Taro with gratitude and awe. The smallest lion had guided them through the storm. When the Pride reunited later that day, stories of Taro's bravery spread quickly. The elders listened carefully, nodding with pride. Taro stood quietly, unsure how to feel. He had not fought a monster or roared loudly, but he had chosen courage over fear. That night, as stars filled the sky, Taro lay beside his family, feeling different. Not bigger, not louder, but stronger inside. He understood something new. Courage was not about size or strength. It was about stepping forward when it mattered most. As the wind whispered through the grass, Taro closed his eyes. knowing this was only the beginning of his journey. Morning arrived gently after the storm, as if the Pride Lands themselves were proud of surviving the night. Dews sparkled on the grass, and the air smelled fresh and new. Taro awoke to unfamiliar attention. Lions he had barely spoken to before nodded at him. Younger cubs stared with wide eyes. Even the birds seemed to chirp louder when he passed. Taro felt shy, his ears twitching. But deep inside, a quiet confidence had begun to grow. Later that day, the lead lion called a gathering. All the animals formed a wide circle beneath the great acacia tree. The leader spoke about the storm, the danger, and how bravery had appeared in unexpected places. When his gaze rested on Taro, the pride fell silent. Taro's heart pounded as the leader praised his courage and kindness, reminding everyone that leadership is not always loud or fierce. Sometimes it is gentle, thoughtful, and brave in quiet moments. Taro wished the ground would swallow him, yet he also felt warm with pride. For the first time, he believed that maybe he truly belonged. But courage, he soon learned, is not a single moment. It is tested again and again. That very afternoon, trouble returned. A sharp cry echoed from the far canyon where the rocks were steep and dangerous. A young cub from another pride had wandered too close to the edge and was now trapped on a narrow ledge. The stronger lions rushed ahead, but the rocks were unstable, and every step sent pebbles tumbling into the deep shadows below. Taro followed at a distance, his thoughts racing, remembered the narrow paths, the quiet observation, the moments when listening mattered more than charging forward. As the bigger lions argued about the safest way, the trapped cub cried louder, panic rising with every second. Taro swallowed hard and stepped forward. His voice was calm but clear. He pointed out a lower path hidden behind tall grass, a route he had once explored while everyone else slept. At first, no one listened. He was still small, still young. Doubt flickered in their eyes. Then the trapped cub slipped slightly, and fear gripped everyone's hearts. With no time left, the leader nodded. Taro was allowed to guide the way. The path was narrow and slow, but it was safe. Taro moved carefully, showing each step, testing every stone. The wind tugged at his fur, and his legs trembled, but he did not stop. When they finally reached the cub and guided him back, relief washed over everyone like sunlight after rain. This time, Taro did not hide his smile. He had faced fear again and chosen courage again. As the pride walked home together, the leader walked beside him, no longer ahead, no longer behind. That night, under the glowing moon, Taro looked at his reflection in the water. He saw the same small cub, but his eyes were different. They held confidence, kindness, and courage earned through action. Taro understood now that being brave did not mean fear disappeared. It meant moving forward even when fear stayed. And with that truth settling in his heart, the brave lion cub rested, ready for whatever challenge tomorrow would bring. The days that followed were filled with change. Not loud change, not sudden change, but the kind that grows quietly, like grass after rain. Taro noticed it in the way others listened when he spoke, in the way younger cubs followed his steps, and in the way his own heart felt steadier when challenges appeared. Q was still the same cub, still small compared to the strongest lions, but something inside him had shifted forever. One afternoon, the Pride Lands faced a new threat. A long dry season had crept in without warning. Rivers shrank into thin silver lines, and the earth cracked beneath the sun's heavy gaze. Animals gathered near the remaining water, tension rising with every passing day. Arguments broke out. Fear whispered through the tall grass. Hunger made tempers sharp. The leader called for calm, but even he seemed unsure. The old paths to hidden water were forgotten, and the scouts returned shaking their heads. Hope began to fade, like the last drops in the river. Taro listened. He remembered. Long ago, during his quiet wanderings, he had followed birds at dawn, noticing where they flew and where they returned with wet feathers. He had seen shadows of green far beyond the hills, places no one spoke about anymore. His heart beat fast as he stepped forward. Doubt tried to pull him back. What if he was wrong? What if he failed this time? But then, he remembered the storm, the canyon, and the truth he had learned. Courage was not about certainty. It was about trying when others were afraid to. He shared his memory with the pride, describing the hidden valley beyond the rocky ridge. Some lions murmured in disbelief. Others scoffed quietly. 2. The journey would be long and dangerous, especially for the young and the old. But doing nothing was no longer an option. After a long silence, the leader nodded. The pride would follow Taro. The journey tested everyone. The sun burned, paws ached, and patience wore thin. When arguments flared, Taro reminded them to rest, to share, to help those who struggled. When fear rose, he walked at the front, not roaring, not boasting, just moving forward step by step. At last, they reached the valley. Green grass stretched wide, and clear water flowed like a promise kept. Cries of joy filled the air. Animals drank, laughed, and rested under cool shade. Hope returned stronger than ever. That evening, as the sky turned gold, the leader stood before the pride. He spoke of strength, but not the kind found in claws or roars. He spoke of heart, wisdom, and courage. He spoke of Taro. Taro felt the weight of many eyes, but this time he did not shrink. He stood tall, understanding that leadership was not a title given in a single moment. It was earned through trust, kindness, and bravery shown again and again. As stars filled the sky, Taro lay beside the others, listening to peaceful breathing and soft laughter. He knew challenges would come again. The world would test him in new ways. But he was ready. Because the brave lion cub had learned the greatest lesson of all. True courage lives in the heart. And even the smallest lion can face the biggest challenges when he believes in himself.